For the sound.
Yeah, just for the sound.
Testing the sound, yeah. Also, you'll be rolling. Okay, I'll start like this. Okay, cool. Yeah, so 2013, if you ask how the season has gone, I guess it's the whole year because we don't really have a clear-cut season. I would say for me, if I have to sum it up, I would say very up and down year. The year started off with a bang where I had the best results of my life and won the Doctor in Australia, and the Mandra Duel the week before. So that was like, that was my best result, and I was super stoked with that. The year kind of went a little bit down from there. Like the first half of the year was a little bit tough. A little bit of a rocky road in a lot of different ways. And the second half of the year has been good. Funnily enough, I had some very good results on the river this year. I won the Green Kalahari Canoe Marathon, won the Val, the Aussie Gladwin, won the Breda. So, in a year where I was really thinking and focusing on surfski paddling, I actually had my most significant results on river and marathon races. So that was kind of nice. I was very stoked with that. It's always funny to me because towards the end of the year, you tend to start getting tired and you're thinking about holiday and all this kind of stuff, but yet there's the massive races waiting for you at the end of the year, the Cape Town Downwind and the Cape Point Challenge. I think normally you would probably get quite tired, but because those events at the end of the year, you just keep pushing and you just force yourself to keep going strong and keep training hard, And I've been very happy with where I've been at. I mean, middle of the year, I definitely took a bit of a dip, June, July, but since then I've just been getting stronger the whole way through. So I'm very excited for how it's going to go. Yeah, so we've been very stoked with having the Cape Town Downwind and the Cape Point Challenge a week apart. And the Cape Point needs no introduction. It's a 50k, one-day classic, hard slog. You're going to be hurting the last 5 to 10Ks. Everyone does. Doesn't matter where you're in the front or the back. Yet even with that event, there was a bit of a void because we're always talking about Downwind in Cape Town, and we didn't have a big international race where pure downwind skills were really put to the test. So I think the Cape Town Downwind has been a great introduction. Even though you get the same guys racing for both races, they're two very, very different races. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Cape Town Downwind getting a lot more important in the years to come and maybe even becoming a bigger race than the Cape Point. So for me, I must say they are equal importance for me. Whether I win the Cape Point or the Cape Town Downwind, I'll be happy with either. And if I do well in both, I'm happy. So it's kind of nice because you've got two opportunities to really make it count. Okay, so in terms of conditions, I'll talk about the Cape Town Downwind first. It's about a 20k course, so the very short upwind leg in the start. And then, if the wind pumps, you've got the wind and the swell coming straight up your bum all the way to the finish. So for the Cape Town Downwind, we definitely want the strongest possible southeast we can have. Last year we had good downwind for the singles. It was one of the better downwind races for the year, even though it wasn't close to a massive one for Fishhook. But the doubles, I think everybody saw last year, was absolutely howling. So if we can have that this year for the singles, it'll be great. The Miller's Run is quite a technical run. It's kind of like, it is swells all over the place. So it takes a lot of concentration to firstly on the day decide what sort of line you're going to take and what sort of tactic you can do. And then, you just have to chase every single bump. So even though it can be big raging conditions, it's still pretty technical and you have to give some thought to how you're going to approach it. Then for the Cape Point Challenge, obviously the ideal conditions would be 0 wind to the point and, unbelievable downwind from there to Fishhook, but that's probably not going to happen. So I would say for me, I want 10 to 15 knots, say 10 knots southeast, not too strong to the point, and then obviously giving us some help home. That would be the ideal conditions. However, I must say this year I have a sneaky suspicion that it's going to be an absolute howling southeaster. I don't know why I think so, but I think we're due for a big southeaster point. I hope they take it around the point. But yeah, I have this ominous feeling that we're going to have a pumping southeast this year, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, I moved down a couple of weeks ago. It's been quite a change, but a good change. I've really enjoyed the environment that we're living in. I mean, eat breakfast in the morning, watching the waves. You get back from training, and it's you can go back to bed before you do anything. The joys of being on holiday. Previous years, coming from Durban, you really only get like a day or two on the course before the race. Fortunately enough, this year we've been spending a lot of time on the course, doing downwinds with Sean Rice. He's been instrumental in teaching me lines. Craig Flanagan's been showing me up on a couple of races. So, every race is a different situation, and you learn from every race and every session, and how far you can push yourself, and when to make the move, where to make the move. I think time on the course has really made a difference for me. I'm obviously hoping for a great race later on in the season with the World Cup and Cape Point obviously being the big one. So that's really where we're heading to now, is looking at the bigger picture. I mean, every afternoon or every morning we do a session on the flay, and 9 times out of 10 we'll do a downwind in the afternoon, where you really get to practice your downwind skills, which I think is the most important. I mean, I started the race, we did the New Balance Fisher downwind, and I took a wrong line from the start, and that was me out of contention from the word go. And I mean, I was feeling great on the day, thought I was doing well. By the time I could see the other competitors, I could see that I was not where I wanted to be, and then it was playing catch up from there. And yeah, I mean, that was a big learning experience, and now it's just about looking forward to really staying in contact with the guys on race day. It's all about what you put your mind to. Hank's been instrumental in in teaching me whatever you want to do, you can achieve with a bit of passion and a bit of drive for success, which is really what I'm aiming for now. Is especially training with Sean, living with Sean. I can train with the best and race with him, and we get home in the afternoon and we can eat dinner together and share stories of the day's training and how we're feeling. And it's nice to judge yourself off someone of the caliber of Sean Rice. I'm really looking forward to a great season next year with Peter Cole's training really being very, very different to what I'm used to. And yeah, my body's responding well to how it's been so far. And you get on the water and you do it and you get off, and you feel a bit of satisfaction and accomplishment when you get off. So yeah, that's been really cool. Cape Point is one of those races where there's a massive build up to it every year, and everyone's fit for it and everyone's excited for it, and the vibe around it during December, and the vibe in Cape Town itself is incredible, and I think that adds to the real spirit and camaraderie of the race. With regards to training and stuff, I think a lot of distance is involved in something like that. And obviously, time on the seat. We did a training paddle the other day where we mocked the course. We went from start to finish, and you really get to see and feel what it feels like to do that distance. And I think putting the time in is definitely key to success. What you eat for breakfast in the morning, the amount of sleep you get that night, because obviously you're very nervous. So and it's an early start. I think the first batch goes off at 5:30, 6 o'clock. So that's really the most important thing, is making sure your body's it's recovered and feeling strong in the day for a tough day's racing. And I think that's the most important part. I mean, if your mind's ready to go, then that's half the battle won. And yeah, I think if you got that mental edge over your competitor, then that's what it's going to come down to. Because if you catch the same amount of runs as the person in front of you, well then it's going to come down to who wants it most. So yeah, I think that's really the exciting part, is making sure you've done the planning and preparation for something so big. It's not one of those races where you can just rock up and race, and and if you get lucky, you can have a good race. Luck doesn't really play a factor in a race like that. Really, there's nowhere to hide out there. last year we bashed into a headwind from the point all the way home, and that destroyed me. I mean, I came in fragile by the time I got to the finish. I was man down. So hopefully this year, after spending some time on the sea, on the course, having got some inside tips from previous race winner Sean Rice, it's going to be a great race this year. All the top guys are coming. We've got some internationals here. We've got the French guys. We'll have some Australians. You know, we've got Hank McGregor, Grant van der Walt, Sean Rice. You know, we've got all the lighties, the under-23s, the juniors. When you look at the field that's lining up, I think a field where you finish in the top 5, you can really be stoked with the results from that.
Well, my training this year has been really good. You know, I started this year with a different outlook on my training and what I was going to do to try and prepare for the season, and I think it's all paid off really well. I've had a long year of racing. I've done countless races really, but I've had a lot of fun. I think it all sort of the pinnacle of it all was winning with the World Champs. Was fantastic personal achievement for myself, and after that I've just been running with the momentum. Went to World Marathon Champs for the K2 with Sean Rubenstein, which was also really fun. Learned a lot there. We got 4th overall. It was super tough racing. Yeah, I managed to win the Euro Challenge and the Euro Surfski Champs and a few others, and did some new races. You know, the Molokai was a hell of an experience. That was quite a lot of fun. And then yeah, you know, in terms of training for the Cape Town World Cup and Cape Point, I recently came back from Hong Kong where I got my pipes cleaned a bit. It wasn't pretty. Got 8th overall there. Yeah, you know, I think I took that defeat with a pinch of salt and moved on very quickly, and I used it as ammunition for these set of races. I've actually come back paddling better than what I was paddling there, I think, and had some good races recently at the Surfski series we have here, a few wins, which has been fantastic. Nice momentum again, and then yeah, I think training-wise, everything's been perfect for me. The only thing left now is, you know, your psychological and your mental side of the preparation, which no one can help you with. And I'm feeling quite confident, so it should be fun. Surfski World Cup and Cape Point, really, they mean a lot to me, mainly because I spend a lot of my year traveling overseas, and I do, no matter how you do well, you win, whatever, you finish this awesome race, and then you still have to send a text message or a phone call to the girlfriend Emily or the family or whatever. It's not quite the same, but when you have a big international race here at home and you do win it, like I won 2 years ago at the Cape Point, that was one of my fondest memories, just coming across the line and instantly having all your family and friends there, having a mad party afterwards. And yeah, it's just, the festivities is great. Also, it's the end of my racing season, so to finish off with a good result is very important for the next year. It sort of all puts it and makes in context and makes it worth it. Cape Town World Cup, I think because it's a slightly newer race on the calendar, it's still a special race, but the Cape Point is really, that's the one that I put my heart into that one, and I hope to do well at both of them. But Cape Point's really my one that I want to win, and it has a lot of pride in winning a race like that where it's been going on for so long. I think here in Cape Town we have a massive amount of talent. You know, it has a lot to do with why we actually do so well as South Africans or Cape Townians overseas, is that the guys who race here are world class, just as any other Aussie or American guy we have to race overseas. So letting these guys have the opportunity to race the internationals and that is just fantastic for them. I think you always have one or two guys that will suddenly pop out of the radar in the race where it's maybe, say, big downwind conditions, and favors the guy who's done the downwind run 300 times that season. You know, then I think it's great that the little underdogs will all have a chance to have a crack at it. I think the internationals, it's nice always to host the internationals coming to our race, because it feels like we forever being hosted ourselves. So to show a bit of a payback is quite nice, you know, show them around the peninsula. It's quite a lot of fun. We've been quite lucky, the Cape Town guys, that we've had the local Surfski series going. You know, it's 8 races over 8 weekends running up to the Surfski World Cup and Cape Point, and at any one of those races, you've got 2 or 3 of the best paddlers in the world giving it absolute horns. They're really not holding anything back, I can tell you that much. Is to win one of those races, you've got to be on top form, as anyone would have to be to win an international race. And we get to race in different places around a beautiful continent. You know, we've got some fantastic places to paddle, and I think we take it for granted. You know, we end up getting stuck on the Miller's Run and that sort of thing, but it gives us all a chance to move to the different areas where there are surfski paddlers and share each other's stoke. It's really important for surfski, a little bit of cross-pollination. The race is also, it's quite important for us guys, because it's run by our local surf Lifesaving club, and there's a huge team that put a lot of time and effort into this race, and they're always watching us race overseas, and you know, they put the hard work in. Our little series races and our races where it's a Friday night, and you know, it's howling wind. They're there taking the times, and we take it for granted, you know, having someone there to run these races for us, where we can practice our racing and then we go overseas and get all the glory. It's awesome to have a race come here, and the guys do the same amount of work for a small race as what they do for a big race, and then be recognized as just fantastic. I think they all appreciate that. Hopefully we can put on a good show as locals. I think the guys to watch this year would of course be the defending champion Hank McGregor. Matthew Bowman put on a huge performance a few weeks ago in Hong Kong, and I was David, Jasper, Tom Skilpert, the Aussies, Michael Booth. He came third in Hong Kong just a few weeks ago. He'll be someone to watch. Hopefully they'll be saying the same thing about me.